Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Karen, the blogger at Pint-Sized Baker and the hostess of the online blog conference. Today we're doing another session of continuing education, and I would like to welcome Melissa Megginson from Tailwind. She's here today to talk to us how to utilize Tailwind to help grow our blogs and get those pins out there for everybody to see and repin and get us lots more page views. So, Melissa, thanks for being here. Hi, how are you doing?
Not too bad. So happy to be here. Glad you invited me.
Thank you. So we are all excited to learn a little bit more about Tailwind and kind of give us a rundown of just basically the ins and outs and how to use it to grow our blog and like I said, get those pins seen.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a little bit of I prepared a PowerPoint presentation. It won't take too long, and then I'll go into how to use Tailwind and a little demonstration for those of you who either haven't used it or haven't seen it in a while, and then take questions here at the end.
All right.
All right.
While you're doing that, should people pull up their Tailwind just so they can follow along?
If they would like to, it'll
Okay.
be maybe here in about 5 minutes. I'll give you guys a warning.
All right.
Coming. Sounds like you got a friend there.
Yes, always.
Okay, so like I said, I have a little PowerPoint here. Hopefully, can you see it all right?
Yep, everything's good.
Awesome. Okay, so first I'm just going to go over why Pinterest is the oddball. Even people who have been on the platform for a long time don't understand the differences between Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook. So just go over that a little bit. Then talk some about what makes a successful pin. And then finally, maximizing your time and efficiency, specifically using Tailwind. And then questions. So why is Pinterest oddball? What makes it so different from Facebook and Twitter? For one, the focus of Pinterest is fundamentally different. Users on Twitter are tweeting about what they're doing now. So, for example, people are on Twitter having conversations with strangers about The Bachelor while they're watching it live. Facebook users tend to post what they've done in the past. So they'll be posting statuses about how much fun they had this weekend or about a recent vacation that they took. But Pinterest is about who you want to be, not where you've been. Pinners are on there planning weddings, looking for recipes, trying to figure out where they want to go on vacation. It's a platform that's looking to the future and not the past. And pinners are on there to pin, organize, and share interesting things they find across the web. It's not a place you go to vent. It's aspirational and allows you to explore who you want to be. It's about helping you focus on what you're interested in, and it also generates more referrals than any other social network. A big part of those referrals is that they rely on the fact that Pinterest content is evergreen. This means that while a post on Facebook stays in users' feed for an average of 80 minutes, pins on Pinterest have a life cycle of more than 1 week. And this graphic is one that I created that shows just how long it takes for a pin to go viral. It's a case study that I did on this sort of ingenious idea of putting glow sticks in a balloon and letting them float on top of a pool. It was originally pinned by Verena to only 30 followers just 48 weeks before this study. From there, it was repinned by 6 users before reaching Pinterest influencer Dan Ashback 32 weeks later, which resulted in 3,200 repins. It's a great reminder that Pinterest is not about instant gratification like Twitter or Facebook. It's about quality content being shared over weeks or even months. And because that content sticks around a lot longer, it's extremely important to produce strong and eye-catching images for your blog. And the reason Pinterest works is because it's focused on interests. It's great for bloggers especially because you're targeting people who are already interested in what you're pinning about. So we know what makes Pinterest different from those other social networks. So let's talk about what makes a successful pin. First, to give context to your pin, you need to have really good descriptions. This is where your users are inspired to learn more about what you're pinning. You need to tell them something that's not visually represented in the pin. You need to write descriptions that are positive, compelling, descriptive, useful, branded, evergreen, and not too long. Try to keep it under 300 characters. And when writing descriptions, it's helpful to use Pinterest guided search as a way to find important keywords to target. First, think about those words that your audience would look for when they go to search for your content on Pinterest, and then type that into the search bar. From there, as I'm sure many of you know, related content pops up. You can click on those and discover what content is surfacing and what's performing in those areas that you're interested in putting content out to. When it comes to the image itself, there are three main things to keep in mind. First one is aspect ratio. Pins that are portrait style, just meaning that they're longer than they are wide, do so much better on Pinterest because they take up more real estate. You need to make sure that the pins are at least 600 pixels wide so that they don't pixelate when a user clicks on them and they remain readable. Second, you need to use high quality images. You do not want to have fuzzy images on Pinterest when so much emphasis is placed on those visuals. And we'll talk about a few tools shortly that will help with this. And finally, keep the text short. Tell the pinner exactly what the pin is going to have and arrange the words in a compelling way. When thinking about those text overlays, there are just a few things to keep in mind. Emphasize the words that are important and what you want to catch the pinner's eye. And don't use too many fonts, just maybe 1 to 2, and find complementary fonts. An easy hack that I personally use pretty often is to use a serif or sans serif font and have one part of the pin be in the regular style font and then another in a bold, or one part be uppercase, another part be lowercase. And since they're the same font, there's a very good chance that they're going to go together. And finally, choosing colors for fonts. Use ones that are contrasting but still complementary, similar to this one that we have here with the bright pink and the dark blue. So even if you're not a professional photographer or if you don't have a great eye for design, there are tools out there that will help you easily create beautiful pins at little to no cost. So tools like Canva, PicMonkey, and BeFunky are great for creating those pins and adding text overlays. In fact, Canva is integrated into Tailwind so that you can create an image right in our dashboard and then schedule it out to those relevant boards. And thankfully, the days of those super cheesy stock photos with a white background and the crazy faces are gone. There are amazing free resources out there like Unsplash, Morguefile, Pexels, and Vecteasy. And we also created a simple guide to creating pins. So if you want a bit more information, just go to bit.ly/greatpinsguide. So now we will learn how to maximize time and efficiency using Tailwind. I'm going to jump out of this and head back over to Tailwind. Do we have any questions so far? Cool. Okay, so this is actually my cat's Tailwind dashboard, and I'm going to come back over to my scheduling page. This is where sort of the magic happens. As soon as you sign up for a Tailwind account, these are automatically created for you. This is your pinning schedule. We look at what times have gotten the most engagement for you. So that's looking at likes, repins, comments, clicks, anyone engaging with your content, and we add those to your schedule for you automatically. And as you go, we suggest different time slots. So right now, my cat Duke should be pinning at 10:29 p.m. I'll go ahead and add that. And say I don't want to pin at 10:29 a.m. anymore, I can delete this time slot. So just because we suggest it does not mean you have to take our word for it.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
I see you have 1103 is gray. Is that a non-optimal? I have a whole bunch of grays on mine.
That's one that it's almost like a filler.
Okay.
You want to have different times out there. I can't exactly explain where those come from, but I can definitely ask our development team. I'm marketing, so I don't know the development.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I wish I did.
Okay.
Everyone's life a little bit easier, but
yeah, I have grays, and I was like, I don't know.
Hopefully you have some greens too.
Oh, I do. There's too many to keep count of, but I do.
There's also, the gray ones also appear when you just add a random time slot. Like if I want to, this is not working for me. Add one at 6:10 a.m. That one is also gray.
Oh, could these maybe be because I think I've been with Tailwind for, I don't know, 15 years or something, and when you first came out with Tailwind, I had to manually do my schedule, so are those probably all the manually done ones?
That is, I'm going to go ahead and just say yes.
Okay. All right, go on.
Okay, so this is automatically set up for you. So if you're lazy like I am, it's great. You don't have to do anything. They're going to just be there for you, and you can add them as you progress. Then I'll head over here to the drafts. One really amazing way to create multiple pins at once is to upload images. And I went ahead and put some adorable cat pictures. Then I will go ahead and upload. And these will just automatically create a draft for you. So if you've written a blog post and you have those images already created and on your computer or in Dropbox, you can easily import them all into Tailwind. If you have your URL synced, it'll automatically link back to your domain and save you so much time. Just need this one picture to load, and then we'll show you. There we go. Okay, so say I wanted to add all of these pictures to one board. Up here, I can click on cats being cats, or if I wanted to add it to all of my cat boards, I can click on catting around, and all of those are added. I don't want to stop sharing, and I'm going to go ahead and just schedule, well, I need a description on all of these, of course. That's another thing when you import images like this, you do have to enter in the description for each one. So, cat, cat, cat. This is not what you're supposed to do. Do not just write cat repeatedly like I am. Go ahead and schedule those. And so you'll see them all over here. And because I added them all to my board lists, which is what the 3 boards were, they're all showing up here. And you can see there's duplicates that are next to each other. Maybe that's not what I wanted. I can hit Shuffle Q, and it'll mix them around. Alternatively, if you want to have more control over spacing out those pins, I'll hop over to Pinterest, click on my little Tailwind button, and a common misconception is that when you're pinning from Pinterest, it creates a repin. What we're actually doing is creating a new source pin. All right, now that I have 15 images, I'll hit Go Schedule. And catting around. But on this one, I would like to use interval. And these you can adjust however much you would like. We will be releasing a new version of the publisher that's going to make this even better. And you'll be able to have repeating time slots. So the recycling that I know a lot of people have been looking for is very, very soon coming. I'm going to go ahead and set that interval and schedule that one now. I'm going to save the rest of these bad boys for later. Head back over to Tailwind. And you can see here that the ones that I just created, it says manually scheduled. Now, when I click on Shuffle Queue, those ones with the little clocks don't move. I think this one did because my other pin went out, so my cat is currently pinning. Another way you can use the Tailwind extension to help speed up time is going to your own blog, clicking on it, and then going and sharing those images. You can do this on your own blog, you can do this on your friend's blog, and you can share it to whatever boards that you would like. I can share it even to private boards, which some people really enjoy using private boards. I've yet to figure out the best way to use them personally. But are there any other questions? I feel like I'm just rambling here.
No, not at the moment. We're just enjoying watching you work.
Okay, great. All right, so that's a lot of what goes into Tailwind scheduling. And one of the important things that you need to do when you're figuring out your right Pinterest strategy and how to use Pinterest effectively is to look at what's actually performing for you. And I know we were talking about this before going live. There's different ways that you can track how you're performing. One way is to look at your profile performance. And so my cat doesn't pin very often, so his statistics are not great. But you can see that he has gotten 1 repin in the last week. His engagement score, which just means repins per pin per follower, when benchmarking against himself, he is actually doing quite well. And virality score, it doesn't take into account your followers, it takes into account all of Pinterest. So it's looking at the repins per pin over all of Pinterest. Over here, the engagement rate is a little bit more concrete because you can see the percentage of your pins that have at least 1 repin. And that shows how much people are actually sharing and liking and engaging with your content. Duke only has 18% of his pins with at least 1 repin, so he's really got to work on his content strategy.
So mine, luckily, I'm looking at it, mine is at 100. So that means every pin that I pin at least gets repinned once.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yay! Okay.
Good job. And then this is just the board insights. So talking about the virality score and engagement score, you can see what boards are making those scores go higher. So for Duke, it's his I'm a Cat board. It has 117 pins, 15 followers, 51 repins, and then the highest virality and engagement score. And you may be thinking, gee, why is that? What's driving this engagement, this virality? Come over to the pin inspector. This will show you all of your pins for the, I think it's the last 5,000 pins on the Plus plan. So your most recent 5,000 pins, and you can sort them by repins, likes, comments, date pinned. You can schedule the repin from there if it's something that's performing really well and you want to get it back out there. And see what board it's from, go directly to the source or to the pin. And if I wanted to see, gee, why is Duke's I'm a Cat board performing so well? You can just click on that board, and it looks like his top repinned pin is actually from that board. A lot of his top pins. So for Duke, he would look at this and say, I need to pin not cat things to my I'm a Cat board. I'm going to guess that everyone else here's analytics are going to look a little bit more reasonable than my cat's. So this is just an example of what you can do. And you can also, if you have a campaign or a certain board, like over Christmas is a really good time to look at. You can see when those pins are getting that engagement, how well they did when they got those repins. And then one thing that's a people will sort of forget to think about when thinking of Pinterest is how pins are performing coming from your domain and not just the pins that you're pinning. That's why I love, love, love our Monitor Your Domain section. It's actually my favorite, and Duke's account is linked to our blog. So I can see that we have had 312 pins created from blog.tailwindapp.com in the past, I believe, 7 days. 220 pinners have pinned those 312 pins, and that's generated 4 million plus impressions. I have not linked our Google Analytics to my cat's account because that'd be silly, but you can, on the Plus plan, link your Google Analytics and see your traffic, how much revenue you're making from Pinterest, how many visits you're getting from Pinterest, page views, all sorts of things. And we pull in all of that data from Google Analytics, which I know can be a real monster to look at.
Okay. Can I pause you for a second?
Absolutely.
I'm on mine on Insights, and I just have the basic plan. Mm-hmm. And mine has pins like yours, but then it has potential impressions and visits. Mm-hmm. So that's potential impressions of my pins from pintsizebaker.com, and I could put the potential visits that I could generate, right?
Do you have your Google Analytics synced?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. How would I know that?
If you come over here and referral traffic is not blanked out.
Is not blanked out. No, it is not blanked out. Okay. I can see it. I can see it.
Okay. That means you have Google Analytics synced, and those visits are coming from your Google Analytics for your domain. So that is what that means. That's the number of visits that you're getting. Not even just the potential ones, but that you're actually getting.
Okay.
Yeah. On ours, it says there's 0 visits because we don't have it linked on this account.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So my chart does go up and down and has visits per day. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and this graph is interactive, so if you see this spike, you can click on it and figure out what was going on here. And to see what's driving those visits and those impressions, you can click on your latest pins and see what pins are coming from your domain right now. And the word cloud is actually really great for keyword planning. So if you notice a upward trend in certain words that people are pinning when they come from your site, then you can start integrating those more into your descriptions or into your blog posts. I know I've gotten a number of blog post ideas just from our word cloud and seeing what people were saying. And from here, you can click through, go to the pin on Pinterest, like, repin it, comment, go ahead and schedule it, all sorts of things. There's a few things on here that, well, actually, he does not have it, but give me just a second, and I want to show you guys this thing called Content Discovery that's in beta right now, and it allows you to, no, I don't want to take a tour. You can create your own personal feed, so you can put your RSS feed on there, your friend's RSS feed. For Tailwind, we have, pretty typical social media and business blogs that we follow. It pulls in the content from those sites, and you can schedule right from here, which is amazing. It's kind of like Feedly put directly into your Tailwind dashboard. And another great thing that you can do is search the visual web. So I want to look up social media. And it'll do the same thing. It'll pull in content from around the web that you can go ahead and schedule. A lot of this I've obviously looked for this keyword before. So a lot of this has already been scheduled, but it's a great way to find new content. You can go by trending, what's popular, and see how it's ranking on Facebook, Pinterest.
And this is what you're getting ready to roll out soon?
This, if you just send me an email, I can get this onto your dashboard for you for free. It's just something that we have in beta because it is the internet and we do get some interesting search results sometimes. Once we figure out sort of a better way to handle that, we're going to push it out to full release.
Oh, okay.
And if you have a certain board that you really want to build up, you can come over here, click on the board. We'll look at the domains that you have been pinning from, the certain words that are in that board, and pulling content related to what you're pinning. So our dream office was a board that we created when we were moving offices and picking out office furniture. As you can see here, there's a whole lot of office furniture and Game of Thrones calendar that would go over really well in our office. Different things that you can put on that board to quickly build it up. This is just a little sneak peek at something that you can get, and if you would like to have that added to your account, just send me an email. It's Melissa, Melissa, at tailwindapp.com, and I can get that on there for you.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to pop back over to the Hangout here. Stop sharing. Okay.
All right, so I had a quick question, and then I'll let Nancy grab the questions that are in the HOA. My question is, how come my Tailwind analytics are so different from the Pinterest analytics?
We're measuring two different things.
Okay.
The way that Pinterest does their measuring is over, I want to say their averages, and we do actual numbers. I always forget what they do on theirs. Let me pull it up.
Well, on Pinterest, you can go and you can see this has been your top pin, and it could be anything, anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can go via your blog, your domain, or you can just see what is the one that you pinned, and see what's doing good. But they never seem to line up.
Interesting.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that is an odd one. I know with the actual domain pins, we have a harder time searching Pinterest than Pinterest does, and they are going to have certain things that we just can't because they are Pinterest.
Okay. And I do also pin live, so I don't know if that causes some issues as well because they have an extra few live pins that aren't going through the Tailwind system to be accounted for.
It shouldn't.
Shouldn't? Oh. Okay. I don't know then.
I don't either.
Because I get the emails, the weekly emails, and Pinterest says I got 2,900 repins, and then from Tailwind it says you got where is it? 2009 repins.
It's a little bit off.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Huh.
So yeah, so there's things like that. They're not always on the same page.
Yeah, different calculations. If you've had a pin deleted, our system won't always register that.
Oh, okay.
And I think Pinterest still counts those deleted pins within their system.
Okay.
Yeah, again, that's the developer magic that I'm not too familiar with.
Okay. All right, and Nancy has some questions from some of the group.
Okay, Erin had a question. Her question is, what is the best way to capitalize on pins that have a high quantity of repins? Does she repin it to a bigger group board, reschedule to high-performing boards, or repin in real time?
I would say schedule them to those other group boards that you maybe haven't pinned to in the past, and even scheduling them. All of the things that you said are actually pretty good ideas. And I would also add in there that you could create a different pin so that you're sharing the same web page, but it doesn't look the exact same. So if that pin didn't catch someone's eye earlier, maybe the new one will catch their eye and they will choose to come back to your site or repin or like or comment.
Okay, Jessica had a few questions. Her first one was how to use the tool that tells you all about how your pins are doing. Is there a way to utilize it better? And then she has in quotation marks, pen inspector.
Mm-hmm. That was the one that I mentioned earlier. I would say that using it in conjunction with your board insights is a really powerful way to do it. And just seeing what boards are performing and what pins are driving those results. Seeing if there's any sort of pattern there or if there's some information that you can glean even from the boards and the pins that aren't performing. And figure out what you can really focus in on to perform the best on Pinterest and create that strategy that's going to work the best for you.
Okay, and she had one more question. She says that sometimes she'll go to schedule a pin and it'll go to drafts, and she's not sure why. And then she says, when I go in there, they no longer have a board that's connected to that pin. But I know I put a board in because she couldn't schedule it without putting a board. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Okay.
That's a bug.
Yeah.
help@tailwindapp.com, and our amazing customer success team, either Emily or Madison, will get back to her pretty quickly with some sort of update or a fix or something.
Okay. And there were just a couple of comments about the analytics that people would just like to learn more about it. They didn't have any specific questions, but they liked how you walked through it, and they would definitely like to learn more about the analytics part of it. So.
Sure. Anything in particular?
No, they just said that there was so much there that they really enjoyed seeing what you showed them so far. So.
Okay.
I guess maybe a tutorial or something about it.
There's a lot there. I'll try.
Maybe for another session.
Yeah, we had talked about possibly doing another one. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do that.
Maybe like part 2, analytics.
Be happy to come back and talk just about analytics and strategy. But my suggestion for now is to go in and just sort of poke around. The wonderful thing that I personally think about Tailwind is that we do offer our analytics for free. The thing that you have to pay for is the scheduling. So after your first 100 pins, that's when the payment starts, will start pestering you to upgrade, but you can still look at your analytics after that.
So I had mentioned beforehand we've had Board Booster come on, and his words of advice were it takes 4 days for a pin to go viral, and if it hasn't taken off in 4 days, then it's, in his opinion, was a dead pin. And I've seen from my own that no, that's not always the case, because you never know who might be bored out of their mind sitting in line at the carpool and come across your pin. But there has been, for a couple of months now, discussion on should I delete something that just really never did anything, or I'm going to make a new pin because this picture was really ugly and I'm just going to delete it. I mean, does that is deleting bad? We've heard yes and we've heard no.
Rather than deleting pins in bulk, especially ones that follow all the guidelines of making a great pin, don't do it. Don't delete the pin. It can always go viral. If anything, rather than spending the time going through and deleting those pins, go through and change the descriptions up. Maybe you've learned something recently from the guided search or from the word cloud on Tailwind or just different trends that you've seen happening, that you can put those words into the description and maybe then they'll take off. Just in my nerdy little PowerPoint presentation, the example of Dan Ashback pinning someone's pin that was 38 weeks old. That's,
right.
That person never would have gotten that many views on the pin had it not been for it still being out there and still being surfaced. Pinterest is a search engine. It's not a social media platform. You don't need to delete pins, just make them better. Well, unless the image is bad.
Okay.
Then I definitely agree.
And then one more question that a lot of people ask is, with the new Pinterest recommended pins, and with them, when you're searching it, they always like to give you those really high repin counts. Why can't Tailwind, or why is it bad to not continue that repin? Why do we, going through and starting a new pin each time and starting at 1 again?
That's just the way that Pinterest API has us do it. We are a Pinterest marketing developer partner, which means that we have direct, safe, connected access to Pinterest. And unfortunately, there is not a way to create a repin from the Pinterest developer program. I know some of the other tools have been able to do that through the workarounds, but those aren't safe.
Is that to keep the spammers from getting up to the top, so to speak, or to prevent them from manipulating? Just curious.
I am honestly not sure what Pinterest reasoning is behind that, but there's a very good chance that that's part of why they are not allowing us to create repins right now.
Okay, because I think that's it would be nice, if possible, to pin to your main board and then drive all the additional pins off of your main blog board in order to grow that board a little better.
I definitely understand the desire, but as long as it's a pin coming from your domain, Pinterest is going to look at that and see it as a positive and put that into the smart feed. And even though it's not necessarily a repin and it is a new pin, it's still the same eyeballs, it's still the same views on your feed. So it's almost a vanity metric at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate having you come on with us and talk to us about Tailwind. Again, if you wanted to send Melissa an email, you can always tag her in the conversation here, Melissa Megginson, or you can send her an email, and you said that was melissa@tailwind.something. I have it here.
Tailwindapp.com.
Tailwindapp.com. Okay. And Nancy, thanks so much for being on with us. Was there any last-minute things before we go?
Actually, there was one more question that popped up, if I can ask. Cynthia was asking, what is the suggested intervals?
Suggested intervals. Is that just the interval that pops up when you hit interval pins? I'm guessing.
That's what I'm guessing too.
Okay, that's just sort of the arbitrary number that we decided to go with. I think it's initially just at 1 day. So you can have your pins go out 24 hours from each other, or you can have them go out 22 hours from each other, 48 hours from each other. It's just up to you. It really honestly doesn't mean anything just to have it set at 1 day. It's just sort of what we decided to put as our baseline.
I think it originally came up because Pinterest saw mass pinning and took it as a spam. Mm-hmm. So if you space it out over every 24 hours, it's not quite as viewed. Pinterest doesn't see it hitting 10 boards in 10 minutes and considering it spam. So I think I do 24 hours generally.
Yeah.
And just let it auto-populate over that.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate having you on, and we'll talk about possibly having another conversation. About Tailwind Analytic specifics. So thanks so much for being here with us today. We appreciate you being here. Have a great day.
Fun. See ya.
Thanks.